Back in 1976, when Dustin Hoffman was making Marathon Man, he had a scene in which his character hadn't slept for 3 whole days. To properly portray his character's exhaustion, Hoffman also stayed awake for 72 hours and showed up on set looking suitably fatigued and weary. Famously, his co-star British thespian Laurence Olivier quizzed Hoffman on his technique and asked him, "My dear boy, why don't you just try acting?" Meows aside, Olivier's remark to Hoffman's approach shows there are 2 kinds of actors. Some are happier hopping into their character when needed, but able to shake them off after a long, hard day's filming. Other actors, however, prefer to take the method acting route, learning all they can about their characters and immersing themselves so much that they practically become them. Often, this involves taking some pretty drastic measures, like literally staying in character for the entire shoot of a movie. I'm Gareth from WhatCulture.com, and here are 10 infamous times actors refuse to break character. Number 10. Jared Leto's Suicide Squad. Prior to his role as the Joker in Suicide Squad, Jared Leto was no stranger to diving deep into his characters. Yet, while often extreme, these processes Leto went through weren't really hurting anybody but himself. On the set of Suicide Squad, however, everybody felt the full effects of Jared in Joker mode. Throughout filming, Leto never broke character, prompting his co-star Will Smith to say, "I've never actually met Jared Leto." That's probably par for the course with method acting, but Leto's technique of staying in character involved some pretty weird behavior, including sending his castmates some questionable gifts in keeping with the Joker's personality. Amongst the bizarre and creepy presents Leto bestowed upon cast and crew were condoms, anal beads, and a dead pig. Charming. In the end, it turned out most of Leto's scenes in Suicide Squad ended up on the cutting room floor, and all that unhinged effort was for naught. Number 9. Forest Whitaker, The Last King of Scotland. Even before Forest Whitaker started filming The Last King of Scotland, Ugandan dictator Idi Amin was encroaching on the actor's life. In the months preceding production, Whitaker dedicated himself to learning all he could about his on-screen persona, becoming fluent in Amin's native language, Kiswahili, and spending time with Amin's family and friends to better understand and humanize the charismatic but ruthless leader. For 3 whole months of shooting, Whitaker never once broke character, which proved quite unnerving for his co-stars. Kerry Washington, who played one of Amin's many wives in the movie, noted, "He totally embraced the character, and for me, it was terrifying." It took its toll on Whitaker too, who later described the experience of getting into the mind of a dictator and staying there as all-consuming. He did, however, sweep the boards on the awards circuit with his performance, winning Best Actor at the Oscars, Golden Globes, BAFTAs, and Screen Actors Guild Awards. So at least it was worth it. Number 8. Christian Bale, Terminator Salvation. Although Christian Bale has insisted that method acting isn't really his thing, he's certainly taken a rather extreme approach to his work at times. While playing a disturbed insomniac in the 2004 psychological thriller The Machinist, Bale shed 63 pounds only to put it all back on again plus a few extra pounds shortly after to bulk up for his role as Bruce Wayne in Batman Begins. Perhaps more infamous than his yo-yo weight was when Bale's commitment to his character resulted in an angry tirade launched at director of photography Shane Hurlbut, after he distracted the actor during a particularly intense scene on the set of Terminator Salvation. So dedicated was Bale to his role as John Connor that he delivered the 4-minute-long diatribe, which contained an impressive 37 F-bombs, completely in character, never once dropping his affected American accent and even throwing in a few typically American cuss words like ass and trash. Now that is commitment to character. Number 7. Daniel Day-Lewis, My Left Foot. As the undisputed king of plunging elbow deep into his characters, Daniel Day-Lewis is so method that the lengths he'll go to in the process of becoming one with his role are legendary. Some of the most extreme tactics Day-Lewis has used to stay in character came with 1989's biographical drama My Left Foot, in which he played the Irish painter and writer Christy Brown, who was born with cerebral palsy, wheelchair-bound, and only had control over his left foot. During the shoot, Day-Lewis confined himself to his character's wheelchair almost entirely, and even when the cameras weren't rolling, the actor insisted crew members carry him around if he wasn't in his chair, and even had them spoon-feed him too. As a result of being hunched over for weeks on end, Day-Lewis ended up breaking 2 of his ribs. There was method to his madness though. His dedication to staying in character on the set of My Left Foot scored him the first of his 3 Best Actor Oscars. Number 6. James Franco, the disaster artist. Nobody is sure where Tommy Wiseau came from, where he got the $6 million he used to make The Room, or even if Tommy Wiseau is his real name. All we really know is that he's pretty peculiar and thinks that his film is a masterpiece. So when James Franco directed and starred as Wiseau in The Disaster Artist, he decided to go as meta as the movie itself, and as weird as Wiseau by never breaking character throughout the shoot. Essentially, that meant Franco was directing a movie about directing a movie that Tommy Wiseau both directed and starred in while staying in character as Wiseau the whole time. Confused? So were Franco's cast and crew, apparently. Co-star Seth Rogen claims Franco's constantly staying in character was so convincing that people would ask him where James was. Even Rogen's grandmother, who visited the set one day, was hoodwinked by Franco's act and asked her grandson, "I thought James was in the movie." Deceiving cast, crew, and Rogen's grandma worked, however, and Franco received a ton of critical acclaim for his spot-on portrayal of Wiseau. Number 5. Hilary Swank, Boys Don't Cry. When actress Hilary Swank nabbed the role of trans man Brandon Teena in director Kimberly Pierce's biographical drama Boys Don't Cry, she began staying in character even before filming commenced. At the insistence of Pierce, Swank fully transformed into a boy and lived as a male for a month in the lead up to filming. To do so, Swank employed many of the tactics Teena himself had used to pass as a male, including cutting her hair short and strapping and packing. That is, binding her breasts and stuffing socks in her pants to look manly in all the right places. She remained in character once she arrived on set too, and was introduced to her fellow cast members in character and as a male and never let them see her out of costume during the shoot. According to the crew, Swank was so absorbed by the role that she practically lost herself. Producer Eva Kolodner even went so far as to say she felt she never really met the actress while filming, saying she was immersed in this boyness she left everything of Hilary somewhere else. Losing herself so deeply did prove to have an upside, however, when Swank was rewarded for her efforts with a Best Actress win at the Oscars. Number 4. Val Kilmer, The Doors. To say Val Kilmer got slightly obsessive in his approach to playing rock legend Jim Morrison in Oliver Stone's biopic The Doors is probably putting it mildly. In the year leading up to filming, Kilmer dressed like Morrison and hung out at his old LA haunt alongside spending hour after hour badgering The Doors producer Paul Rothchild to learn all about Morrison's vocal mannerisms. As dedicated as Kilmer was to the role, his behavior on set took a bit of a diva-like turn. While staying in character during filming is perfectly understandable, the way Kilmer went about establishing this probably wasn't the best way to curry favor with cast and crew. According to movie legend, Kilmer sent a memo around understandably requesting that people refer to him as Jim, but weirdly also forbade people to approach him without good reason or to stare at him on set, and then had the audacity to wonder why he was being largely ignored on that very same set. Madness. Number 3. Bill Murray, Where the Buffalo Roam. Playing the late, great, and slightly insane gonzo journalist Hunter S. Thompson in 1980's Where the Buffalo Roam had quite the effect on Bill Murray. After spending enough time with Thompson to perfectly nail his mannerisms, it seemed his persona started overtaking Murray. While staying at Thompson's Aspen, Colorado home during filming, the pair embroiled themselves in a rather risky game of one-upmanship that culminated in an alcohol-fueled Murray, seemingly still in gonzo journalist mode, daring an equally drunk Thompson to tie him to a chair and chuck him in his swimming pool. Thompson obliged, and Murray almost drowned before the former pulled him out. Filming of Where the Buffalo Roam also happened to coincide with Murray's other work commitments, including the 5th season of Saturday Night Live. According to SNL crew members, Murray showed up on set in his Hunter S. Thompson costume, apparently unable to shake his persona. One unnamed SNL writer even said Bill was not Bill Murray, he was Hunter Thompson. You couldn't talk to him without talking to Hunter Thompson. Spooky stuff. Number 2. Jim Carrey, Man on the Moon. Jim Carrey nabbed his second Golden Globe for Best Actor for his performance as legendary funny man Andy Kaufman in Milos Forman's biopic Man on the Moon. But the rather extreme lengths he took to get inside the mind of Kaufman didn't exactly earn him many new friends on set. Carrey dove headlong into Kaufman's quirky personality and stayed in character 24/7 during the shoot, either as Kaufman himself or his vulgar anti-ego lounge singer Tony Clifton. His act was apparently so convincing and consistent that, according to co-stars, crew and even Kaufman's own family and friends found it difficult to tell where Kaufman ended and Carrey began. Alongside refusing to respond to any name but Andy or Tony, Carrey got up to some pretty bizarre stuff, including barging into Steven Spielberg's office demanding to see the shark from Jaws, as Tony Clifton, of course. He probably took it a bit too far, however, when he picked a fight with wrestler Jerry Lawler, a friend of Kaufman's who'd had a famously faux feud with him in the early 80s. While recreating a wrestling match between Lawler and Kaufman, Carrey tried to goad Lawler into hitting him for real by spitting on him, to which the wrestler responded by putting him in a reverse chinlock and sending him to the hospital. Ouch. But understandable. Number 1. Joaquin Phoenix, I'm Still Here. Joaquin Phoenix has had some successful dalliances with the method during his movie career. However, Phoenix conducted a not-so-successful experiment with method acting when in late 2008, he announced he would be retiring from acting to concentrate on a career as a hip-hop artist instead. For the next 2 years, Phoenix kept up the act, appearing in public unshaved and unkept. He once even showed up on The Late Show with David Letterman to promote his last ever movie in character as Joaquin Phoenix, the possibly unhinged actor who gave up an acclaimed acting career to become a rapper, and proceeded to mumble his way through the interview. Eventually, it turned out it was all just an elaborate hoax, and part of he and Casey Affleck's mockumentary, I'm Still Here. Unfortunately for Phoenix, nobody else really got the joke, and the film flopped harder than a fish out of water.